Welcome back to my channel. Today, really, I want us to reflect on something very simple, really, nothing very complex. Most times we have this challenge as human beings of following things that God Almighty has told us. When He says we should not commit adultery, we find it difficult to not do that. And when He said we should not take alcohol, we find it difficult to say we are not going to take alcohol. In fact, there are others who even feel, why should I even follow somebody who said something? However, just to put it in context, we're talking about the person who actually created us. Put that in context. He created us. He gave us life. He gave us everything. In fact, we came and met this place that He built for us to stay in for the time that we're going to go back to Him. So the question is, if the person who created us is not going to tell us what is good for us, then who else will tell us what is best and beneficial to our lives? The answer is nobody. And whatever He tells us is going to be of benefit to us, because what we think we have today is actually given to us by Him. So how best can we actually use what He has given us? It is the best way that He said it is. So going and obeying some of those commands of God Almighty may be very trivial, may be very small, but in the long run, it will actually help us to be impactful in our own life. In fact, sometimes the benefit that comes is not because God needs us to worship Him. He doesn't need us. Yes, the reason why He created us is for us to worship Him. But the reality is that whether we refuse to worship Him or whether we decide to worship Him, it doesn't change anything from Him. It doesn't reduce anything from Him. It doesn't increase anything in Him. He is actually self-sufficient, He's actually magnificent, and He's actually great, even before we even came to reality. So really, we doing what Allah, God Almighty, wants us to do is for our own impact in our own lives, so that we can do beneficial things before we go back to meet Him. Whether we like to admit it or not, every single day we tend to see people who live this life. They will die and go back to meet God. So it is very key that when we do that, we should make this decision that we want to go back to meet Him in ways that are pleasing to Him, because the reality is that we are not going to live in this world forever. Can you imagine how boring it will be to live forever in a world like this? Or not even how boring it is for us as human beings. We will decide to say, when will my death come? This is what we will be asking God Almighty, for Him to take our lives. But the beautiful part of this is that God Almighty is a merciful God, and He is also full of wisdom. And that is the reason why He has given us this opportunity of life, and even not just the opportunity of life, but even how to use the life that we have. So follow Him, and following Him is actually what we need to do as human beings, and so that we can be impactful to people around us and even to ourselves. And inshallah, God willing, in the hereafter, we'll find the impact of this. I hope to hear your comment, what you think about this, and share your comments with me. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a chat. Let us see what your thoughts are, and then we'll understand better how we can look a way forward to improve our interaction with our Creator, and also how we can get the best of this world and the best in the life to come. See you in my next video.